Hey, what's up, guys? Before I jump into what Zeebu is, maybe I'll quickly cover what our overarching mission and vision is. The overarching mission and vision of Zeebu is to get blockchain technology enabled services to the next billion retail users and to the next million institutional users. Now, while we were going through, ideating around this mission and vision, we thought to ourselves, what is effectively the best catalyst in order to make this happen? The best catalyst, in our opinion, is the telecom ecosystem. Why? Because each and every one of us in this room, is a consumer of telecom services. And you're either using AT&T, you're using T-Mobile, Etisalat, etc., in one way, shape, or form, whether it's for data services, SMS, voice, right? Now, over 50% of these telecom service providers also have native applications in your cell phone. So to us, this happened to be the best possible catalyst in order to get blockchain technology enabled services to the next billion retail users and to the next million institutional users. Now, we haven't vertically integrated to the retail segment yet. We decided to start with a very, very simple market, which is the wholesale voice, SMS, and data termination market, right? It's valued around $120 billion in transaction volume annualized. And today, we're on track to capture 30 billion of that over the next 18 months or so. And we have already captured about 6 billion of it. So what has Zeebu done till date? One very simple thing. We enable them to do payments quickly, efficiently, and at a very, very cheap cost, both in time and dollar value. So these are the effective network participants for the Zeebu protocol. Yesterday, my co-founder spent a bunch of time on Zeebu Pay, which is our payments platform itself. So today, I'm taking a deeper dive on the protocol, which is the overarching network that has every single participant within the Zeebu ecosystem. So participant number one would be telecom businesses. They do one very simple thing. They on-ramp to ZBU in their local currency or stablecoin. They accept, issue invoices on the Zeebu Pay platform, and they remit ZBU to their counterparties all over the world. Why? Because number one, dollar availability in most emerging markets where wholesale telecom operators work out of. There is a lack of availability for the dollar, wherein it's either not available for long periods of times, or they're paying 4 to 5% premiums to simply get access to stablecoin and dollar currency. So with Zeebu, they on-ramp to ZBU. Our liquidity providers source cheap stablecoin, put it into the liquidity pools, and whenever they remit ZBU, there's an auto swap on the back end, and the counterparty always receives USDC. So the liquidity providers are the on-chain liquidity providers you see right there. The on-chain liquidity providers have one job and one job only: bring USDC, BTC, and ETH, and stake in our liquidity pools across multiple DEXs. And then additionally, we have what we call right now on-chain clearinghouses that will eventually convert into network validators. The on-chain clearinghouses have three functions. Number one, gas abstraction, to put up gas on BNB, Base, and Ethereum, because most institutional clients do not want to go out of their way and purchase gas tokens. So it's a very, very simple service. Number two, economic security and ZBU tokens. So we have a limited amount of on-chain clearinghouses, only 300. If one of the on-chain clearinghouses or 10 on-chain clearinghouses aren't operational and don't have gas on them, then network speed goes down significantly. So you put up ZBU tokens as economic security to effectively keep yourself incentivized to keep refilling gas on the on-chain clearinghouse itself. And number three is to source the cheapest possible liquidity across all of the DEX pools, because right now we have pools on Balancer, Uniswap, PancakeSwap. Eventually we'll have Aerodrome as well, and we'll have multiple currencies. Eventually we could even set up, let's say, a ZBU checks pool, right? because in one way, shape, or form, ZBU has a pool with stablecoin, checks as a pool with stablecoin. So it still leads to, it could lead to cheap transactions for all of our institutional users, right? So the point being, the on-chain clearinghouses have to source the cheapest possible liquidity on-chain through multiple DEX pools. And the delegators do one very simple thing. They enable on-chain clearinghouses such as, let's say, DNA, to have ZBU staked under them to augment their network, economic security. Because the more ZBU you have staked under your on-chain clearinghouse, the more transactions you're able to process in a single day or 24-hour period. So the step number one here would be telecom demand. Our customers are abstracted away from all of this, by the way. They have absolutely no idea what's going on the back end. They come to the platform, they see an invoice that one of their counterparties put up, they accept it. Once they accept it, the on-chain clearinghouse prepares automatically to source the cheapest possible liquidity on-chain. And once, quote unquote, the liquidity's been sourced, our merchants get a time-weighted average pricing for about 30 minutes to purchase ZBU, enabled through one of our OTC service providers. Once they purchase ZBU, they remit it. The counterparty receives stablecoin. And in the process, our liquidity providers that provided the liquidity to keep slippage below 0.5% get about 20% the fees that we collect from our institutional users. And the on-chain clearinghouses receive about 30% of the fees that we collect from our merchants on the platform. So through this mechanism, till date, we have processed about $5.9 billion in transaction volume. The protocol has yielded about 2% of that, which is $119 million. And the total protocol revenue that has been paid out after covering cost basis is about 1.4%. $83 million has been allocated towards liquidity providers and ZBU stakers slash node operators. And the total amount of ZBU we have burned, which is super interesting, is 1.4 billion out of a 5 billion token supply. Now you may ask why. Whenever we created the ZBU tokenomics, we wanted to keep it consumer driven when it came to the pricing model. Because what happens in Web3 is that sometimes hype overtakes the native value of an asset. And we cannot really have that, especially if we're going to maintain a time-weighted average pricing for our institutional users. So in order to ensure that any given point, the price is as intrinsically driven as possible, we burn off a certain percentage of every single transaction that happens on the platform in order to ensure that scarcity remains and only the demand equivalent tokens are going towards the burn pool. So these numbers are a little bit dated, but the main number to look at over here would be that we have processed on average since July 2023 about $23 million in transactions per day. And we have processed over 101,000 invoices on the platform till date as well for institutional users. So just to reiterate on the governance or network participants, we have delegators. Delegators can have any fractional share of ZBU that they want to allocate towards one of the 300 on-chain clearinghouses to augment the on-chain clearinghouses' ability to process transactions. The deployers, which are also called on-chain clearinghouses, stake ZBU. They deploy smart contracts for settlement, and they manage larger transactions and earn yield. And the on-demand liquidity providers provide liquidity on LP pools, ensure sufficient liquidity, and earn rewards. This is a super simple deck because to us, it's important to create super simple products in order to bring the next million institutions on chain and the next billion retail users on chain as well. It's very complementary to our overarching mission and vision to do so, because today in Web3, the main problem that we have is UX fragmentation and high complexity. Most people create products and present products with the sole assumption that they are presenting and catering towards Web3 native people, where in reality, most of the world is still not Web3. So that's a little bit to you about Zeebu protocol itself. I'll take any questions, if any, now. Yeah, go ahead.
How much Zeebu does it cost to set up a node? Or what is the requirements to be a node operator so you can get rewards?
As of now, if you want to set up a node, you need to have at least 200,000 ZBU in order to set up one node. And then if you want to, delegate, there's no specific requirement. So phase one, we specifically went after wholesale telcos because they had a very pressing need and a very simple solution that could solve that pressing need. We are currently working through vertical integration directly with cell phone service providers such as Vodafone, where we have a dedicated pilot program in the Cook Islands to set up end subscribers with mobile wallets, crypto collateralized cards, self custody, and also custodial wallets, wherein they could also work with Vodafone's top up shops to actually do fiat on ramp, off ramp as well. So that's the end goal when it comes to the retail users, and then payments is mostly focused towards institutional users. So institutionally, there's a massive need for automated on-chain payments. Think of Universal, for example, right? Universal lends out master right access to multiple streaming services such as Spotify, Apple Music, etc., that are now further relaying that music rights or the ability to use that music to retail users all over the world. Now, if I'm Spotify and I have an Indian user listening to a Taylor Swift song, technically I will bill it in my ERP system in rupees. So I will pay Universal in rupees. That forex conversion cost and the delay in that payment is highly inefficient. So that is one of the use cases that we're currently working on and horizontally expanding into, wherein we will natively integrate with their ERP systems and do payments in ZBU directly to the master right issuer. Additionally, there's also on-chain escrow vaults for commodities and shipping companies, effectively, removing the need to number one, get highly expensive leverage from banks, and number two, having to move capital when in reality they can just be doing a net off deal. They would simply be putting up stablecoin in an on-chain escrow vault that represents the value, and we can have partners like Chintai that actually tokenize the assets that are actually getting shipped or transported, etc. That could also go into a complementary vault. So those are the two industries that we are looking at overall. Yeah, yeah, actually, so we already have a partner that does insured receivable factoring for infrastructure providers all over North America, etc., and provides, I guess, or purchases receivables from infrastructure providers to AT&T, T-Mobile, etc., and effectively takes 5% discount on the receivable value for in order, and in turn provides them liquidity for 90, 180 days, etc. Right now, what we could do is we will be creating on-chain escrow vaults as well, where retail, institutional, etc. Liquidity providers can come issue liquidity into, and the infrastructure providers would directly sell tokenized receivables into that on-chain escrow vault and take liquidity out. So as of now, the partner we are talking to has $600 million in receivables that they factor on a quarterly basis, and all of them are insured up to 95% by Allianz. So it's relatively cyclical because I guess there's two things to keep in mind. Number one is actual demand for consumption because all yield is paid out in stablecoin directly from the fees that we collect from the people using the Zeebu Pay platform itself. So all yield is paid out from the transaction volume, and there's a prorated distribution in the amount of ZBU staked and the amount of node operators there are. So it could be cyclical. As of now, the average has been 40% annualized. The cool part is all of it's paid out in stablecoin and not our native token. So the native token isn't inflationary, right?
But you have to buy the token stake.
Yes.
So you break even in like 2 years?
Uh, yeah, it depends, right?
Guaranteed.
It's a tough question to ask, man. Well, maybe if once Shintai creates a structured product out of it, then we can say. So technically, the way it works is that the foundation allocates nodes to strategic partners. So DNA, for example, is someone that can be trusted that won't just go, disappear overnight without putting up gas into the node, right? So the foundation will say, okay, DNA, we will whitelist your wallet address. You are allowed to set up a node. Now that node will be activated once it has, 200,000 ZBU staked under it. But DNA doesn't have to be the one that puts all of the ZBU into it. The delegators that DNA has on its platform could be doing it as well. Yeah. So we're also working on creating a consortium of telcos, like telecom operators specifically, that we want for to operate some of the nodes as well. Yeah. Like one of our node operators, just as an example, is Metaphor Capital, which is a A16Z, I guess, token purchase company. They A16Z routes all of their token purchases through Metaphor. So that's someone that has actual reputation and won't just go away overnight, because if a node has been whitelisted to your address and it doesn't work anymore, it could hamper network speed significantly. Cool. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.